Right, good afternoon, people. Took a couple days there. So, for today, I'm going to talk real quick. On my recent trip to the record store, I picked up an original Miles Davis album from 1981, Man with the Horn. And for a while, I've had 1985's You're Under Arrest. Damn that glare. Uh, this is that 80s period where he came back, added some synthesizers to his music, and some people don't really care for it too much. Some people are like, "What the hell is this?" Me, I gotta admit, I had never listened to the Man with the Horn before, and both of these just came out a couple of years ago in 2022 remasters. And I've heard that Man with the Horn's actually starting to pick up pace now. People are paying more attention to it. So this came out after Miles's 6 year, we'll call it retirement. Retirement, yeah. He just stepped away for a few years to deal with a bunch of his issues. Lord knows those have been documented. And I have to admit, not having heard it before yesterday, from CBS, by the way, records, that blew me away. Um, I've never been the biggest Miles fan. I have a bunch of the 90s 7 CD remasters, like Roundabout Midnight and stuff with the Gil Evans Orchestra, Sketches of Spain, Seven Steps to Heaven. And I don't always listen to them. I've always been a bigger Chick Corea and Return to Forever fan, as well as Herbie Hancock solo. I I love the separate play Coltrane, obviously, but I've always preferred those two session players that Miles had over a good chunk of his catalog. But without Miles Davis, do you really have all of that happening? Probably not. But what's interesting about Man with the Horn to me is, again, it's 81. It feels like, I took notes this time around, it feels like a really oral pastiche of different eras across this album. So, what I likened to what I was hearing to was more of a mixture of past releases. So, if you like, now let me rephrase this a different. Let me go over, start over. I should just edit this, but screw it. I'm already rambling. So, my first impressions were on the first song, "Fat Time," named after the bass player, because well, he came up with it, and Miles said, "Well, you're fat, so we'll just call it Fat Time." That that damn song, right off the bat, it gave me 76 to 86, Kinks vibes. So where you're doing reggae, you're doing funk, definitely some fusion, like this Sly and Robbie, the big reggae duo that was on Peter Tosh solo albums. They do a lot of, well, they did most of Grace Jones's greatest albums for that matter. So it's very reggae and funk. This and the follow up, Backseat Betty. I swear there's parts of times where there's these guitar solos from Randy Wells, yeah, Randy Morris, where I thought it was a reaction to Eddie Van Halen and Richie Blackmore. It, you it just pops out where you've got these bassers just chugging along. Miles comes in. He's back on acoustic trumpet at this point. He's not doing any of the electronic effects and things like that he had done from 69 to 75. So then the guitar rips in, and I had to double check because is this a Miles Davis album or did I accidentally put on Primus or King Crimson? That's the vibe I got. Maybe a more modern representation of what the first couple tracks on this album are like would be Modu Mokhtar with Afriki Victim, stuff like that. But more modern things to look at. So you go through this album and you look at the title track to A Man with the Horn. It's a throwback to his 58 10-inch single, Young Man with the Horn. That's your only song on here with vocals. That's the more standard, slow, blue note jazz number. You know, the club lights go down. Everyone's got that slow dance vibe, chilling at the bar. This is more of his kind of, Miles's kind of blue, roundabout midnight. Someday My Prince Will Come vibe, all just shoved together in a blender. It's all these little patchwork pieces, very progressive and jazz fusion like. I had forgotten that in '72 he worked with John McLaughlin from Mahavishnu Orchestra. More on him later. And we go further to Ursula, 10-minute track. Like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of Sketches of Spain the first couple times I heard it, but the style of the bass playing, the little bit of trumpet, the little bit of funk, more in line with Sketches of Spain, Seven Steps, a little bit of ESP. So that's just my thoughts on it. I played it 2-3 times through yesterday, and it just blew me away. And if I had to suggest to somebody where to start with the Miles Davis album, this might be a damn good pick. Especially, as I said, if you like funk, you like reggae, so you like certain Rolling Stones albums, because Lord knows the Stones did some of that in '73, '74. I said the Kinks, Black Messiah. If you're not sure about Miles Davis or jazz fusion, I think if this is an album, if you like Primus or you love Chef from South Park, Isaac Hayes, this would be a very good jumping off point, especially with the guitar pyrotechnics on the first song. That's just wow. That's a heavy, hard one. So this was fantastic. I'm rambling, but then we got to move on. I skipped 1 or 2 albums to You're Under Arrest. No, damn with the little damn gun. Big ass Rolex too. So this one, confusingly, he has Sting do a guest vocal appearance on the opening track. One Phone Call, Street Scenes, and he's doing the Miranda warning in French for some reason, which is, you've got Sting. That's mystifying to me. Miles himself narrates back and forth his own story. He's discussing how he got pulled over, I think, for speeding in his Ferrari in L.A. in '84, late '84, and he's just dictating back and forth his interaction with the cops and how he got fucked over, essentially. But what's interesting with this one is he's not sticking to the total early '80s package of doing a bunch of stuff. With You're Under Arrest, he's doing more of it goes into that prog fusion era, not so much Bitches Brew, but in that vein, yet mixed with very safe mid to late '80s production. I mean, this is just synth heavy. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's just, it's of its time. And whoever owned this before me was marking off whether they liked it or not. See the little check marks, the little X's. And I've played it a couple times so far. I need to give it more chances. Yeah, it does lose a little bit of fire because it's kind of safe. It's not taking chances. But it doesn't mean it's bad. And what's cool is I mentioned John McLaughlin coming back, and he does. And I had to double take because for a second I thought I put on Mahavishnu, and that's why I knew. I'm like, sounds like McLaughlin. He comes in on Just More a Sign, the Katya Prelude, and you turn it over to side 2 to the full song Katya. Just wonderful. Definitely weird if you like Birds of Prey, Mahavishnu, and you're gonna get that Wildfire McLaughlin playing. It stands right out. It probably the most oddball sounding piece on the album. As a matter of fact, Miles even went ahead and did a couple of cover songs on this, like Time After Time for Cyndi Lauper. And I have to admit, that's a bang up cover. No, there's no Cyndi Lauper singing it. Miles himself, as his trumpet, is making up for Cyndi Lauper. But it is a spot on cover. And who's playing on this? Yes, Steve Thornton on percussion. John Scofield is on most of the guitars for this album. Daryl the Munch Jones on bass. Robert Irving III on synthesizers. He was on Man with the Horn as well. The other one is Human Nature. That was written by Toto, and, Michael Jackson played it as well. Most of the songs, including Something on Your Mind, and that weird medley, Jean-Pierre, You're Under Arrest, most of them lyrically are dealing with, or at least sonically, the theme is dealing with race, war, crime, nuclear holocaust. So it's actually a very dark album. It's a little strange, but it's at the tail end of his career, and he was, not that he knew it, but he was trying to branch out into other topics instead of just playing it. Because if you read in, he had recorded a whole different album to begin with. Bob Ludwig actually did the mastering for this. Then last second, he just changed his mind and had a Prince moment and re-recorded the whole damn thing. So, sorry for rambling. I literally just played it again this morning and I got to run somewhere. Good stuff. Not my favorite right now. I think in 3 or 4 more spins over time, I'll come around to it. But definitely check out The Man with the Horn. Just go right here. And there's my damn phone going off again. At least I actually took notes this time for at least the first half of this video to be a better quality. So that's it for right now. I'll be back. I got 4 movies I watched. I'm just going to talk about it real quick later. And till next time, see you in hell, my friends.